Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're here with Total War Saga Troy, specifically with Memnon, one of the legendary heroes which will be available to you on the 14th of December. Now, there's a lot of reason why I want to talk about this character, mainly because of his new faction mechanics. As always, when new DLC gets implemented, new stuff gets added in with the new characters, and sometimes it's some new mechanics which, well, let's be honest, the Sophia team for a Total War Saga Troy always go full ham when it comes to thinking up new mechanics, and this could work not only for Troy, but also for a fabled Dogs of War faction that we're hoping for in Total War Warhammer 3. Of course, I was going to talk about Warhammer here too, I mean, it's what I do. But let's not waste any more time, let's just jump right in, talk about the mechanics, let me explain everything for it, and you guys will see. Then we'll talk about some speculation near the end. So before anything, Memnon and his faction are a Horde faction. Yep, I know a lot of people aren't too keen with the Hordes, but keep in mind that the Amazon DLC for a Total War Saga Troy actually did fix that up a while back, and Hordes are fairly enjoyable when it comes to Troy. For those not aware, Hordes mean that you will not have access to any cities, you will not be able to build up any walls and all that. Instead, your armies will move around and you will try wreak some havoc. Now here's where things start to deviate from traditional Hordes of Total War. As you can see, we're here in the construction tab as Hordes move around with a movable camp. But yeah, look at the military section. You can't recruit any troops. There are no troops recruitable from these buildings. In fact, the majority of the buildings within your Horde camp will mostly focus around buffing up troops, buffing up your army, and all that different thing, but yeah, no troops whatsoever. As you can imagine, this is already incredibly different to what we're normally used to, especially from the Warhammer point of view, so let's move on to the next section. Instead, recruitment is actually done like this, with the Pharaoh servant mechanic. Now, just a quick warning, I'm probably going to butcher a few names, so please forgive me. There's a little description here as to how the mechanic actually works, so let's just read that very quickly. Relying on the influence of the Pharaoh and his own fame, Memnon can call upon reinforcements from several distant regions of Ethiopia, Egypt, Canaan, and Susa. Each of these regions has a number of territories, and each territory can send reinforcements consisting of a number of unique units. So the important thing to note here is that, of course, these are 4 different countries, which also means that you're going to be able to recruit troops from different cultures. They're going to be very drastically different visually. They'll still follow the typical Bronze Age fighting style and so on, because, well, yeah, Bronze Age. But this is kind of interesting because that means that it's a lot of different cultures that you're going to be able to have under one army. If you want a full army of Egyptians, you can. If you want a full army of Ethiopians, you can, or you can mix and match as you please, depending on what the troops actually do and what you can do with them and what your specific playstyle is. You would have also noticed that you have access to a few options at the very beginning and the rest of them are all locked, which means that obviously it works on a tier system in a certain way. Some units are just better than others and you'll have to work your way to actually unlock them. You'll be able to unlock all the other territories pretty quickly, to be honest, as you'll be able to build up certain buildings within your camp that will unlock some, or by working through some royal decrees, which is technology in the Total War Saga Troy for those of you who are more used to calling it technology tab or research. I played with this DLC for a decent amount of time now, and I would say that it doesn't take too long for you to be able to start experimenting with different army compositions with all the different cultures, and as you can already tell, it does sound very interesting, as it is very much a unique take on Hordes. Once you've picked a choice of units, you'll notice that they'll go onto cooldown. However, not everything will go into cooldown, just everything more or less in the same tier. So if you've got the money to spare, and well, it's multiple different currencies here, you will be able to keep recruiting from different sections, and it's not a long cooldown itself, so you're not going to be bothered by this too much, especially once you start getting more and more territories opened up. And when you've picked the troops that you want, you'll notice that obviously you'll need to recruit them into your chosen armies. So you won't be able to recruit them the standard way, instead there'll be a special recruitment tab, which kind of works like in the way how you recruit regiments of renown in Warhammer, for example. However, here you'll have a certain amount of units, and it does vary as you start progressing through your campaign, so you'll be able to get more or better units and so on. So as you can see here, I've gotten access to 4 units, and they're pretty low tier, but it's very early campaign, it's actually the first turn. They're also recruited instantly and at no cost to my movement, so I can easily start going in and decide to attack the army or the settlement right next to me. For those interested regarding the royal decrees, you can see here anything pretty much with a face will directly link towards your units themselves, and they're pretty easy to spot, so don't you worry. They are spread out throughout the whole royal decree page, so you will have to work around each of the different branches, but it shouldn't take too long if you focus around them. That is depending on what units you want specifically. If you've already got a specific mind of play, then you're already sorted there. So we've had a pretty good look at the mechanic as a whole. This is something that I wanted to heavily highlight in this video, as there's a lot to discuss for potentially for the future. Yes, a lot of people say that I shouldn't look at Troy and say this could work for Warhammer, but the thing is, if I think that something works in some place, it should be used again. This is why we've seen Troy mechanics being put into Warhammer 3. It's more praise towards the Sophia team, as it is an interesting mechanic. Now, the Warhammer-centric part of this. So, yeah, Dogs of War. Come on, it just literally says Dogs of War. I'm not sure if this is, of course, something that Creative Assembly have planned or not, but this screams Dogs of War for me. So, the Dogs of War themselves are a faction that everyone's pretty much waiting for Warhammer 3, and what they were in lore is traveling bands of mercenaries, heroes looking to make a name for themselves, earn some coin, and so on. So, now, if we look at it this way, we've got 4 different countries here. Think about it like this, right? Instead of Ethiopia, Egypt, Canaan, and Susa, think about Estalia, Talia, the Border Princes, and possibly Marienburg? So you would have a Horde as one of these merchant princes, and you'll be able to recruit from all the different cultures, because the book itself was based on a lot of cultures mixed up together, which, well, kind of makes sense. They were never expanded as Talia being its own separate thing, or Estalia being its own separate thing. I'm talking about army books, by the way. So this could be a really good interpretation for that, with maybe a special type of Regiment Renown version, which would allow you to be able to get, say for example, the Undead or the Ogre Regiments of Renown, because there's a lot of different ones. I'm talking the ones specifically from the Dogs of War book itself. Not everyone's keen on Hordes, but then again, we've already seen the Warhammer 3 base game map, well, the poster, and Estalia, Talia, and the Border Princes aren't there, so maybe this could be the way for them to introduce the Dogs of War into the campaign map in a area which, well, let's face it, you're not going to have access to their baseline territories. Again, very important, this is speculation, but it kind of just speaks to me like this, with then having the combined map being able to take over territories, but still having like a pseudo-horde like the Vampire Coast, which, I mean, kind of sounds good. It's important to look to other Total War games when looking for the future, especially, like, mechanics like this would work very, very well. Obviously, we as a community can have different interpretations of these things, and we don't even know if Creative Assembly want to do Dogs of War, but I'm just saying that if they do, it would be kind of cool if they use this mechanic. Though if you guys think of a different way, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a discussion, as these are always really fun, and see what we can come up with. Maybe we can give some ideas to Creative Assembly. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.